The shocking truth: states can seize your stocks for doing nothing. Imagine this. You own stock, you're a long-term investor, buying good companies and leaving them alone. But what if simply doing nothing, not actively logging in or making trades, could mean your investments are declared abandoned and taken by the state? It sounds absurd, but it's happening, and it's becoming increasingly important. Over the last few years, states have quietly been rewriting unclaimed property laws. The definition of abandoned is broadening, and the clock is ticking faster. Computershare, one of the country's largest stock transfer agents, notes that most states once waited 7 years before treating stock as abandoned. Today, more than half use just 3 years. Even more concerning, the standard has shifted from lost, like returned mail, to simply inactivity. This means the government isn't saying, "We can't find you." Instead, it's, "You haven't contacted us lately." This is a radically lower bar for taking custody of your investments. For investors who follow the basic rule of buy and hold, this creates a bizarre trap. Merely receiving statements or having dividends automatically deposited may no longer qualify as sufficient activity under some state laws. The financial system might know exactly where your dividends are going, but still decide you've disappeared. That's when the machinery starts. Your account approaches dormancy, notices go out, and if no specific response is received, your securities can be transferred to the state as unclaimed property. And then, something far more consequential can happen. The state can sell your stock. Consider Jan Peters, a German citizen who worked for Amazon and owned over 1,000 Amazon shares. California ended up with his shares, even though he lived in Munich, Germany. His address had mysteriously become Munich. Car 00000. California sold his Amazon stock for about $1.6 million. By his calculations, those same shares would have been worth over $4.2 million by June 2025. He eventually received the sale proceeds, but he lost out on roughly $2.6 million in investment appreciation. So why are states making it easier for investments to enter this system? The official answer is consumer protection, arguing these programs act as a giant lost and found. But there's another side to the ledger. States get the money. Once unclaimed property reaches the government, states can use much of that cash while waiting for owners to appear, effectively financing government operations. Budget writers have even been candid about the financial benefits. In 2011, the Texas Legislative Budget Board projected a one-time $72 million gain to the state's general revenue fund by shortening dormancy periods. New Jersey, when considering reducing dormancy periods to 3 years, projected revenue from existing unclaimed property categories could jump from $90 million to $309 million in a single fiscal year. This isn't to say every legislator is plotting a cash grab, but the financial incentive for governments is very real. Transfer agents and brokers must comply with dozens of state laws, seeking standardized, efficient procedures. Contractors get paid to administer unclaimed property. Brokers get paid to take custody and sell securities. And states get assets sooner when dormancy periods shrink. The investor, ironically, is often the odd person out, wanting their stock simply left alone. History shows this machinery doesn't always get it right. In 2006, the SEC accused Bank of New York of failing to properly search for lost security holders, leading to $11.5 million in assets going to states. In 2023, the SEC found problems at DST Asset Manager Solutions, where internal rules prevented better addresses from being used, putting property at risk. This isn't just a hypothetical concern. Regulators have documented system failures. The volume is enormous. Computershare reported 51,320 lost security holder accounts remitted to states in 2024 alone. This isn't some obscure process. It's an industrial-scale pipeline. Washington is finally starting to ask questions. Senator Elizabeth Warren recently questioned why states are switching from return mail to inactivity standards and shortening dormancy periods. Meanwhile, Florida is moving in the opposite direction, restoring returned mail as an important trigger and extending owner inactivity periods to 10 years in some cases. This is closer to common sense. If you buy shares and don't touch them for years, that doesn't mean you've abandoned them. It simply means you're a patient investor. Unclaimed property law was created to protect owners whose property was genuinely lost. Somewhere along the way, lost started becoming inactive. And once government can treat doing nothing as evidence that you've abandoned something, the concept of ownership starts getting awfully thin. The rule should be simple. If you know who I am, you know where I am, and there's evidence the account still belongs to me, my stock isn't abandoned. It's mine. Leave it alone.